Welcome to Talking Bollocks episode 3. Today's episode is all about flow. So I want to go through how important flow is to you. What type of pumps have you chosen to use, and whether that's a financial decision or for what the pump's actual flow gives. Schedules and flow types that you run, and then maintenance that you actually carry out on said pumps, because I think that's a really important one. I certainly only get the best out of my pumps when they are absolutely spotless. So I don't know who wants to go first, or do you want me to start?
Does anybody else use Flow?
Who here uses flow? Yeah, so I run mainly Vortex on most of my systems. First and foremost, because I've got an account with Ecotech, so I get them at cost. Secondly, I genuinely have got used to. I don't prefer. I've just got used to no wires in the tank. It doesn't majorly offend me to have wires, but I think if you're going for a glam tank, just before somebody else says it, um, then you have. I only have on this tank behind me. I have MP40s. I have 4 of them, and they are only on the back wall. If my tank wasn't running so well with the current setup, I wouldn't hesitate to stick them on the ends of the tank. I don't care how it would look. It's all about how the livestock inside responds to that flow. So I wouldn't be adverse to changing the setup. But it's working really well for me. The only other pumps I actually use on any tanks that I have are gyres, max spec gyres. I have one on the frag tank because I've got 4 MP40s below the frag racks, so keeping detritus suspended. And then I have one single gyre on the weir end of the tank, giving flow on top of the frag racks because I've got almost a solid layer of frag racks, and without something above it, their stuff was starting to settle between frag plugs. So yeah,
And what kind of pump do you use for your little Willie?
for my what?
Nothing.
What did he say? What kind of flow do you use for your little willy, did he say?
A pump. What kind of pump, Ron? Edit this out.
No, there's no editing in these. This is full. This is just raw.
I'll hear what you say later when I'm editing.
Okay, we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So Ron, do you feel flow is more important than lighting?
No, I think
No?
you need both. It's as simple as that. I don't know how the fuck can somebody say flow is more important than lighting? You can't run a reef tank with corals without light. So don't say it's more important. More important how? How the fuck do you equate that?
Non-photosynthetic, bitches.
Very good.
Bam! He just
Boom. Slam.
soundboard.
There you go. So yeah, no, I don't think flow is more important than lighting. It's just
So
part of
your
me.
frag tank's like 6 feet long, like 2 meters,
Yep.
and you have one gyre that blows across the top. All the rest of the flow in that frag tank is created from below.
Well,
Oh,
there's 2 returns from the sump.
how many farthings is the tank, and how many Newton meters does the gyre pump out?
Next question.
They're rated for milliliters per second.
Taters came in just fucking balling today.
Love it. Yeah, so I've got 2 return pumps on the frag tank, so that's actually given a little bit of flow at one end above the frag racks.
What kind of return pumps are those?
2 Vectra S2s.
Okay.
I mean, I don't ever really consider my flow pumps as part of my return pumps. They don't. I mean, They help me get a couple spots, but I don't. Do they do enough for you? Like
Oh,
what's your return?
I don't consider them in terms of flow for corals. No, I was just answering your question that there is water movement at that end of the tank from
Yeah.
twin returns, and I
Well, I guess
don't
mine
have
don't create enough
yeah.
to actually consider it to be much water movement.
No, mine are reasonably low as well.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to
So are mine.
yeah, if you're going to crank your return pump, then you better fucking make sure that your drains are okay.
Yeah, my return pump, it says only as fast as the sump will be quiet. So like I turn it all the way down and then just keep increasing the speed until it looks too fast or gets too noisy in the sump. Because that's all it is for me is getting water back through the sump.
Yeah.
And that's how I explained it to Jordan was like, open your drain valve as much as you can and slowly dial that down until you have a comfortable sound. And that's your drain level. And then up your DC return pump to match that drain. Because it's got to be what's comfortable for you to sit in front of the tank. But yeah, so that's why the flow from the return is kind of, I mean, it can help to get a bad spot, maybe with some lock line or something like that's how I use it. But other than that, it's not really. It's more for moving detritus for me than actually helping the corals.
It's always interesting seeing people who have the lock lines on their returns, like way under the tank, like aimed at stuff. I always wonder how much they're pumping through their return because my lock line is just a little stub at the top, just break a little bit of surface tension.
Mine goes down. I shoot mine down next to my I shoot mine right next to my overflow box straight down and try and get those two little nooks where it's like corners.
So do you
but I have them teed. I have them teed at the top. So there's one opening from each. I have two returns. So one shoots straight down and then the tee at it shoots across the surface to break any siphon. And then the other one does the same exact thing, shoots straight down, and there's a tee that goes to break the siphon. And that's pretty much my only thing I'm worried about if power goes out initially is the return pump to keep running because that's going to keep oxygenation in my tank.
Well, and like you said, with the siphon breaks, if power goes out, last thing you want is to drain your tank and overflow the sump because your returns nozzle's way down there without a break.
Yeah. So Ron, you find that's enough flow across your corals? Like that's one thing to move detritus. It's another thing to allow the corals to thrive.
Yeah, I mean, I only added the gyre above the racks because of things settling in between the corals, which then led to a little bit of algae growth. I was getting adequate coral growth with just the underneath flow. So I only added the gyre. It was a spare one I had in a cupboard from an old system, so I threw it on. And it keeps everything even more suspended. And means when I'm throwing food in, there's not food getting trapped in between things and things like that, because I don't have a copper band in there anymore. He was amazing at cleaning up everything for me. But no, I find that's perfectly adequate. I mean, I don't have the MPs underneath fully cranked either. I think they're at 80% maximum. So,
do you get good polyp extension on your SPS? Like, can you see polyps?
I do now.
And
just since doing the bear dip for the parasitic copepods that we're doing all sorts of fuckery on certain species, the polyp extension on a couple of the acros that I got just tail end of the summer last year, the really nice ones from Signature Frags. Some of the polyp extension on them is I've never seen polyp extension like that on SPS in my systems. But they are waving.
How does that
place?
How does that look with the flow? Because I think that gives a good indication. If you have a really good polyp extension, you can see the flow to that coral and around the coral as the polyps wave.
Yeah, it actually.
But they're not just like flowing in the wind, but they're actually kind of.
Yeah, no, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. The gyre it's on a oceanic gyre cycle program, so it's pretty random. Sometimes when it's absolutely ripping for 30 or 40 seconds or so, you see all of the polyps going in one direction, but it's quite chaotic and random. It's working well for me. It really is. So what pumps are you running, Jim, and why?
All JBOs. So my display is interesting because there's so much coral growth that the flow keeps kind of needing to be modified as the corals get in the way. So I run 2 SCP 150 gyres at each end of the tank, and they blow this way and come around and suck back up. So that's kind of the motion. And you know, those gyres, they have like 2 halves, and yours has the same thing. So you can twist them and kind of adjust. So you almost get like you can adjust 2 flow patterns out of 1 gyre. So those work good, and I need them for a really, really long, skinny tank. And then I have an SCP-30 down behind some rock work blasting to move detritus and sand, just to keep that moving. And then I have 2 more little maxi jet, like 1200s, that are just kind of blowing in the center where there's just too much coral blockage to get any flow to that area. So, and those are blowing into the center area just to get some movement around some acros in that area that need a little bit higher flow. And then my return, which doesn't really do shit, but so that's my flow and my display. And as the corals grow, sometimes I'll see like you all know the water flow will affect the growth kind of shape. So I have identical corals, placed throughout my tank that started out as 1-2 inch frags that I split myself, so I know it's the same coral, and they have completely different growth patterns from the amount of flow they're getting. It's pretty interesting. Like one frag grows a little more open, like an open bush, and the other one's really, really dense. And I think it's just because of the flow. They're in the same par level. They're just, one gets a little bit higher flow, so it grows a little more dense, gets more food.
Did you tailor the flow at the left-hand side of your tank to feed your non-photosynthetics, or did it?
I didn't. It just worked out that way. So like, I placed my non-photosynthetic corals underneath big Monty caps, which are a pain in the ass to get to, even if I tried to get to with a baster. I can't get them unless I had like a candy cane shaped baster. I can't get to them even with a baster. So the flow just allows me to use the gyre flow to suck mysis under the cap and right across the face of the dendros, which is nice. So I mean,
think,
I float.
Richard Ross did a video at some point about melting one of those feeder things for that exact reason, I think, to put a bend in it.
Yeah.
But you had to.
Well, they're pretty hard
juice,
plastic, and they get to a point where they
just collapse.
They want to kink and collapse if you bend them. So you could if you got it to perfect temperature, you could do that. But I think it's going to be brittle and won't last very long and kind of be shitty. And unless you do it perfect, you're end up breaking them.
Well, fuck that idea then.
But I mean, flow's just another tool to me. Like, yeah, you need it for your tank, but what else can you use it to help you do? Indirect flow, I find, is the best. Like, some of the corals sometimes get so big that they grow directly into the path of the gyre stream, and then you can see, or maybe you clean the gyre and you put it back in and it's rotated a little bit different and it's blasting right on some acros, and maybe like 3 or 4 days later you start to see some tissue kind of starting to get degraded on the coral and kind of blasting off, and you're like, oh shit, this coral doesn't like this direct flow. Move it a little bit, and the coral recovers. But yeah, you got to watch out that you're not blasting direct flow at a coral. SPS at least. Light direct flow probably is fine for LPS as long as it's not ripping tissue.
I had I've still got it now actually, and it's now starting to grow that I changed my pump since ripping the tank down and replacing it with a new tank. I had a purple Milka stylo that just wouldn't grow at all, and it was because there was an MP40 directly pointing towards it.
Yeah.
Since taking that
yeah,
away,
they don't like it.
Sprouting away good guns.
I don't think you can see it. Yeah, I don't think you can see that as well on like a Digi or a Milka stylo, because those polyps are so big. But on a smoother skin acro, you can almost see right away that you're irritating it.
I had a tricolor at the front of this tank, and the growth actually grew like literally like that. So the flow was blowing into this section.
Oh, really?
It was like peeling, but the coral was actually growing like it was peeling back. It was bonkers, really bonkers.
Didn't like it.
Solid evidence.
Yeah, and then my frag tank, I just have SCP 150s blowing across the top, and sucking across the bottom, and that tank's finally settled in. Even though it's the same tank, same water, it still had to settle in a little bit, I think. But yeah, I just have all Jabos, and
So
I find them.
How often do you clean them?
I don't clean my pumps very often at all. So maybe I don't like taking apart the Jabo gyres. They never seem to go together perfect after you take them apart. But so I rarely clean them, and maybe a year, maybe every year, I'll take them apart and clean them. But I don't have algae, so it's not like they're getting all really gooked up. When I clean them, there's just a little bit of that green like sludge around like the rods that kind of guide it, like the dowel rods that guide it into the motor. Just maybe a little bit of that sludge, and more than cleaning the actual like turbine part of the gyres, the propeller. I don't know what the propeller is called on a gyre, but more than cleaning the actual propeller part, I mean, you just clean the areas where it spins, and it works so much better. That's all it needed.
Yeah, I've stopped stripping mine down. I now take a bucket to the tank full of a really strong citric acid solution, throw the pump in there, turn the pump back on, and leave it running overnight. Come back the next day, give the outside of it just a very, very light scrub with a light brush just to get the loose coralline off that's kind of coming off like a skin, and then dip it in RO and then throw it back in the tank.
You don't get any like bubble algae or any of that kind of stuff on there that you have to try and dig out, or you don't have any little tiny snails that build up on it, or
no.
Yeah, I get those little, what are they called? The little tiny white snails that are all over in the sump.
I used to
I
get
do as
them,
well.
and they would actually get in between the propeller blades, and the blades would actually flex slightly. I don't know how the fuck they did it.
Those are a pain in the ass. And I worry about those on the cords, because I hate trying to wipe the cords off, because I feel like that's always where like a pump will break. You know, a cord gets a little brittle from being in water forever, and you start trying to scrape those little white snails off of them, and next thing you know, you got
what are they, Spiro
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
I get snail issues in mine.
I love the gyres, but those mini strombus get in them and jam them up, where the octopulse are big enough just to shoot the snails back out.
Yeah, I don't have problems with snails in my Jabos. What about you, Zach? You built you built a cover for yours. Is that for snails or is that for like anemones and stuff?
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of everything. I don't have anemones, at least free roaming anemones. So a friend of mine was able to help me print this. It's for my SCP-120s for the J-Bals. Um, the flow out of them felt very, I guess, broad, and wanted to be able to push the flow a little further. I actually haven't thrown them on. I've only test fitted. I still have to clean these up a little bit, but I don't know. I guess I'm afraid to change anything to actually implement them. But it's also the holes are small enough that like things like bubble algae, um, pretty much any kind of like detritus that can get through the natural cage of the SCPs couldn't get to the blades. So I guess I'm just trying to help prevent jamming and shit like that too. So
That's a cool
yeah, I
idea.
don't know. Good.
You could customize the lookup of your tank with a bunch of those too.
Yeah,
Different colors and
Ooh, you could get matchy, purple and pink.
Jason's gotta go there.
That looks like they would prevent that you suck air with your pumps. Does my mic work at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So I haven't put my pumps up high enough because of that reason, Zach.
Yeah.
I could test to see if it would help them. I think it would, just due to the fact the way I have this is, so say this is like the direction your pump, right? You're having it blast out.
Yeah.
There's nothing to really suck right here, you know what I mean? Like you
Yes,
actually
it
have to
seems like it would
turn it.
stop.
Yeah. So I think it could help potentially that. I could test it,
That's a
but
huge
yeah,
issue in the shallow tubs.
right.
Is height placement and sucking
With
air.
with Jabos or with
Or with
Oxygen.
with pumps in general.
I don't.
They always want to pull.
Mine don't want to. Well, mine are about 2 inches below the surface, and they never suck air.
No? Man, mine sure
Never.
do.
And I'm using SCP-150, so almost their biggest. No air.
And they're only 2 inches below the surface.
Yeah.
I use more. I guess I'm talking more of my OW40s, my directional Jabaos.
Yeah, those always do.
Those suck
Yeah.
really.
And then
I
they
love
start
them,
to
but they-
spray.
Yeah.
As they suck air, it
Messy.
splatters everywhere. Yeah.
I bought some stuff to make I don't know if I'll put it on anything, but I bought some stuff to make a surge bucket this week.
Oh, really?
I was just curious how they would work and if I would want to use it on something someday. It was like $30 of stuff.
That's a cool project.
Yeah.
And
Are you
that's
doing
pretty cool flow.
Are you doing a Carlson? Like what kind of, are you doing the toilet flapper?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Garbled, he did the other one, I believe. Is that the Carlson? There's the
I believe so. Let me check. I'm looking it up.
there's like the Bonerman.
Borneman. Yeah.
Yeah, Garbled's was cool. I wish I would see how that's working now.
So you're doing the Borneman, I think, because the Carlson is like it's not so like if you have your bucket, there's no flapper. It's a bunch of tube work.
It's like a J
Yeah.
with a cut angle, and then it reaches up that point, and then it must catch siphon when it hits that point or something.
That's what I'm wondering. I've never looked into them enough to actually be able to implement, but yeah, you're doing a Borneman, it looks like, the flapper, which I think
ORA uses that type of style for everything on their farm, to the point where they have to have the special frag plugs to not fall out of the frag racks because they just freaking
I'd be interested to see. You're gonna have to monitor probably going forward if you actually do implement this. your flapper. I remember Garbled brought this up or mentioned this. The reason why he moved away from the flapper style or didn't implement it initially was I think it's the type of rubber that you're going to be dealing with is EPDM, I think. I don't know.
Hmm.
Sorry, Jim might know what I'm talking about, but typically that material doesn't stand up to like harsher environments like salt water and stuff like that. So,
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I remember that he was having problems that the salt water would degrade the seal and then
yeah.
it would
Start
start
cracking.
leaking. Well, it would just start seeping. Just seeping would, change your
Yeah.
water levels within the
Right.
system and throw off your surge.
You'd also have to fix your whole return chamber. Like you'd have to
Yeah.
make sure that your ATO wouldn't go off. You'd have to set like
Yeah.
a delay on it.
I brought this up to
Pump
him
couldn't
back
suck.
then, though. Zach. You might be able to do it. Or I might be able to help you if necessary. We might be able to, with your new printer, you might be able to print TPU. It's a silicone rubber style type
Yeah, we've
printable.
got some.
Well, what's good about it is it should hold up to the saltwater environment without corroding or degrading. So we might
I think
be able to
the
print
issue
you
with
a
print,
couple.
yeah, the issue with
Go ahead.
printing that TPU to create you're basically trying to create a gasket.
Which
The,
I've
the
made a gasket out of one, and they did not work for me. I tried to use it
yeah,
for
because
bulkhead gaskets.
you have to have it has to be you can't have any shrinkage where it kind of distorts the shape at all. You need to print it flat and it needs to stay flat. And as you print, it's going to keep kind of like that TPU kind of, you got to have a perfect print to keep
I've
that
never
shit.
had a perfect print.
Yeah. It's hard to injection mold TPU without it distorting.
Okay.
Gotcha. The only other thought I had is if you ever really wanted to get around into this fuckery, would be to print. I mean, this is getting into like 10 steps of fuckery. Print
Jesus.
forms and then pour your own silicone molds type shit, but we're getting out there. I've seen people do that type of stuff, not necessarily for this application, but being able to print custom molds and then I think I can't remember how it is, but you make a negative. This is starting to kind of get into Jim's world of molds and type of shit, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't know how those
Next.
silicone molds work other than you
I
have to
don't,
pour them vertical and have the highest point
Yeah.
I don't even know
of,
if I have
of
a place
gas.
I could put it. I think I just wanted to do it in my sink. I just want to see how it worked. I was very, very curious. It's my dream to have
What do
like
you,
a cool,
what else do you
a
use,
cool.
Zach? What kind
Uh,
of pumps do you guys have at the store?
we have a lot of those ice cap gyres, the 4K gyres. We've got 2 per tub. I think there's
Did
around
you buy the older version when they all went on sale for next to nothing?
no, I did not.
Ah,
I did have back in the day in my reef tank, I did have like the first it might have been a max spec, but it did not last me very long at all. I don't know if it was a user error or me, or I'm not really sure what happened to it, to be honest.
The first ones were they were an amazing invention, but they were fucking garbage.
Talking about printing TPU, the ice cap impellers have a rubber grommet that goes on to the motor shaft. And it always, like when those small snails get stuck and wedged, the motor keeps spinning in that soft rubber and it just rips it out. And it's like a constant thing. Coraline, or just, sometimes Coraline breaks off the size of the tubs because they have a flex. And that stuff just makes it right into the pumps and just breaks it all apart, gets stuck. It's really a pain in the
I've
ass.
got a big bag of those grommets. They're now red and green in the new
Yeah.
models, and I just every 6 months I just replace them. They're like 15 pence.
Yeah,
so they know that's a problem and they sell those as a replacement.
Makes sense, right?
Part.
How can I get someone to keep buying something for the pump they just bought?
Well, yeah, they could be wear items that, want you to buy a whole new pump. That's the whole reason it's a wear item. It is kind of nice that they supply them as a replaceable part, because a lot of those places you're not going to get a replaceable part for.
Do the other gyres have that?
I don't.
Rubber grommet.
JBO, I never have a problem with JBOs with that. They don't. The TPU or more rubber part is more of a snap in on the end. So you have the main pump, and then you have the actual gyre impellers that slide into the main pump. And then there's a carrier that's like a U shape that the other end snaps into. So, and then that part of it you can rotate, but there's no like rubber within it that it's spinning on that will tear up.
I do have one Jabao gyre, and I just soak it like you do. I soak it in the citric acid, and then I throw it back in after I rinse. But the other pumps, they physically stop, or I get an error on hydros. They're no good. They don't work. Jabao has actually never stopped.
That's why I like the fact that the only thing that does go is a tiny little 15 pence rubber grommet. Nothing's overheating, nothing's sitting jammed. Yeah, I have to admit, I quite like that aspect of it. The mass spec replacement parts for the gyres, the list is colossal. You can get every single bit as a replacement part, and they're reasonably priced as well.
Well, they're expensive fucking pumps, aren't they?
They are $200,
$300.
If you're buying them retail, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So, who's next to talk about? Oh my God, did you see the dog? Fuck everything else. Dog. Put the dog back on. Fuck the flow. Ryan, what's the dog's name?
What's up?
What's the dog's name?
This one's Dennis.
And I see it's not stuffed dead and has
another
animal glued to it.
Dog jar.
So
dog.
Did you say Dennis?
Yeah.
Dennis is a handsome boy.
With an I?
He's just... Huh?
With an I? D-I-N-N?
No, D-E-N.
I can't believe I don't have, because of the implication sound loaded. That would have been amazing. Fuck.
Here. There's another one.
Hey, who's this?
That one's Mike.
Mike.
And then you got Luann.
Dennis, Mike, and Luann.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just people names. You're just shouting people names.
Well, I mean, we had two of them pass away this year. Actually, three. We lost three dogs last year. So I mean, they all grew up at the same age, and they were older. So that was Billy, Steve, and Dave. Those three. So.
All joking aside, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sure Jason will give you all the sympathy as well, and Zach as well.
I think Zach might have met all three of them when he was here.
Oh, Zach Budnick. Sorry.
Yeah.
He lost the doggy last year.
Yeah. I lost one last year too.
Yeah, those three, God, they were all right around the same age. I think 12 or 13 years old.
Billy was 13, 14.
Yeah.
Dave was 10, 11, and then Steve was 16.
Yeah, one of them was 16, so that's...
It's that crazy stuffed animal lady. Is that her?
Yeah, that's her.
Do you want to introduce her?
Super amused by the lamb. The lamb.
Ron wants a unicorn.
Ron
wants a unicorn.
She will not get on the camera. I promise you that right now.
Yeah, super amused is one way to describe it.
That's what it's called. It's the lamicorn.
Ron wants a lamicorn that lights up.
Hold on, Ron. Here.
Oh my God! Look all the hair. It's like got a tiara on.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it actually looks so fucked up. There's me legs.
Does it have makeup on?
No, it's just got eyelashes. So
yeah, it's
which,
just got
tank,
eyelashes.
The tank is right there, so it lights it up pretty well. So.
Ready for the unicorn fetus pageant?
Here, she brought the llama up. Dennis, get it.
What's that?
It's a llama.
A llama.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog's like
toy?
that one.
Yeah. Well, the dogs leave them alone, but they're up pretty high on the shelf. There's a fetal goat skeleton downstairs, and one of them got a hold of that one time, and then
is that your new band name, Ron?
Fetal goat skeleton. It could be.
Fuck's sake. You think you've heard it all, honestly?
So, Brian, what about your flow?
Yeah.
So.
You like that? Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Right now,
I know.
I've just got the two Gyre XF350 or XF330s in there, and then I just got two of the Reef Octo or the Octo Pulse 2s. But I need a port on my wave engine because I have my skimmer running off my wave engine. So I've got all three pumps hooked up to the wave engine, and then my skimmer is running off that. So I think I'm going to end up with another wave engine, either a bigger one or an LE, just to run the skimmer and the return pump at some point, because I'm running a Varios S2 return pump right now, but I want to switch that over to the Reef Octopus pumps. So
yeah, the group has heard me sing the praises of the wave engine over and over.
Oh yeah.
So I'll tag you in if you want to show them how you have all the different stuff connected and flowing together. It's just such an awesome application. Different pumps connected all in one place.
It's a whole. Oh, you actually want the
Yeah. Could you share your dashboard so we can all draw cocks on it?
Oh, well, I'm on the computer, but here I'll show you if I can get all this shit out of the way. So there is the control board that I've got on sliders, so it goes in and out. And I can tuck it out of the way.
Nice.
And then shut the door in front of it.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just I put it on drawer slides inside the cabinet. So those are there. Let me try to get into the app and I can share the screen and you guys can throw things all over it.
Fucking Jason.
You're on. You were thinking the same thing I was. I can see the look on your face. You're like, yeah.
No, children.
I don't think I've ever gotten into my programming on my computer. I always use the phone. So I got to figure out how to even get in there.
And you said your skimmer pump and two gyres and a pulse are connected to it right now?
Yes. So I've got a Reef Octopus INT 200 skimmer. So that with that pump that's on there, it's a Varios 2 or 4 pump that runs that skimmer. With the adapter, it plugs right into the wave engine. So it got rid of all those power blocks. Like I've got no power blocks running except for the wave engine power block, and that's running the 2 Gyre XF330s, the Reef Octo or the Reef Octopus 2, the Pulse 2, and the skimmer pump, all off the one wave engine.
Wave engine is so great when you have to get a bunch of equipment in a stand. Like if you don't have space for all those controllers and power adapters and stuff, wave engine just absolutely shines in helping consolidate equipment.
So forgive my ignorance. There's a skimmer plugged into it. So are you controlling the amount that the skimmer pump flows with the hydros?
Yes.
Got you.
I can't even get into the damn. It locked me out of my account.
It's not just for power; it's actually controlling.
Oh yeah, it controls the.
Yeah,
I can take that skimmer pump all the way down to 0 or run it all the way to 100%. So I mean, obviously it pulls the ventry, but depending on where you want to be, you see, like running the actual Reef Octopus controller that came with the skimmer, I couldn't get. I think it had like 4 or 5 levels. I'd have to pull it out, but you just the difference in the volume that goes into it. The way you can control it with the wave engine is so much better than the actual controller that they had. So that's why I ran it that way. But I also wanted to get all that extra. I mean, all that stuff causes heat, and it's a Cade 1200 S2. The tank is, so everything is right there. I've got everything's built in. It's got power control, everything on the sides. I just wanted all that tucked in so it wasn't just scattered everywhere. So that kind of made it easy running it that way without having all the extra power blocks causing the extra heat inside the sump, like the area under the cabinet there.
I'm trying to coordinate the programming between them all.
Right.
Mounting the controllers. Again, if you've got space, if you've got an equipment room, a basement, whatever, it loses some of its appeal. But when you're trying to get everything in a stand, wave engine is awesome.
Well, I'm turned on.
Andy didn't even have the Christmas lights going.
Well, yeah.
No,
Could you give me remote access so I could fuck with your lighting, Brian? Jeff gave me that just before Christmas, and his wife kept on coming out into the hall to a Hydros with Christmas lights on it, and he kept on turning it off. I just kept on turning it back on.
Well, did you? I mean, even you can like with the refi lights too. You can change all the display on the refi lights. I figured that out last night playing with it. Jim saw it.
That's what you need.
You're lucky those fucking Christmas lights didn't go up in flames. It would have been your fucking fault, Ron.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Man remotely burns down house in a different continent trying to turn on flashy lights.
Every here would say Scottish man. You got to put that in there. Scottish man.
I don't know
it's just British.
Man. I don't know if
he's British.
Man.
Party mode sounded fun.
Yeah. Party mode for all. Right, okay, so back onto the subject of flow. Mr. Dub, did you actually talk about what you're using for flow?
Not yet, no.
Go for it.
So the system has had 2 different types of flow. To start, initially set up, I had 4 JBL MLW 30s, and this put out, I think, approximately 4,000 gallons per hour. And initially, so my tank is set up peninsula. I had 2 pairs facing each other on the short ends, and I would have them go from 100% to their 50 and vice versa, alternating throughout the day to kind of do an even flow. Up until probably about 2 months ago, those were running for about a year, a little over a year. I ended up having an issue with one of the pumps, and I was a little concerned about the other as well because they kept binding. So like the inner rotor pump assembly would bind to the inner housing of the plastic motor. And what I ended up finding out was the potting actually broke that holds the magnet for the impeller. And so water is getting into it, contamination to the tank. I removed that, replaced them with 2 SCP 120s, and I like them a lot. It just took a minute to get proper placement for a good distribution. I also have them set up as master slave, going back and forth in an alternating pattern, trying to do the even flow. We started off early in the conversation saying that what do you find more important? I do find flow as important, if not more important. Corals can adapt to light somewhat, but you can't really make them adapt to flow. Like I feel like flow is a bit more of a um, hard need where you can go lower light for acros. The the color's not going to be as intense as you want them to be, but like you just start changing flow to them. I feel like that's kind of different. So my philosophy has always been flows number one, lights number two, then nutrients, all that fun shit. But for the return pump, I do kind of piss around with it depending on what I have on the manifold right now. But I run a JBL. It's like a DCT or some shit. It's like one of the older ones. It's about 8 years old now at this point. It's been on 3 different systems. 10,000 or something. It's way over fucking kill. But right now it's on the lowest setting, if not like the lowest second setting or something. And but here soon it'll be actually pushed up with the addition of the 75. 75, I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't know if I want to go an SL30, SLW30, like the real erratic flow, or if I want to go more SCPs, the Geyers. I do like the Geyers a lot, but as others have indicated, they seem to lose flow rather fast, especially whenever they start getting like a scum buildup or something like that. So, but
Yeah, I find it's kind of nice with the Jabo SCP gyres. They lose flow. They lose substantial flow, but they're so damn fucking powerful. You can run them at like 80% and just or 40%, and as the flow kind of diminishes, just kind of jack it up, and then 6 months, give them a little wash.
That's what I'm thinking about doing. Like you've said, and I think others have said, I don't know if I actually even want to tear them apart. I think just remove one at a time, throw it in a bucket, let that fucker just, cycle the water inside the bucket while it's running in like citric acid or some shit. I don't want to tear them apart. I think I caused the potting issue on the other pumps, disassembling, fucking cleaning, scrubbing, letting them sit too long in citric acid. I think I fucked with the potting somehow, but yeah.
How high do you have those Jabos? I can't remember. You have the ones that are the generic little box controller, not the Wi-Fi.
Correct. Yeah, SCPs, not MCPs.
Okay.
There's
So they have like 10 dots that show like how high you got them turned up.
So they're on the second dot, but the floating setting itself, it's like 2 past H. So there's H something, and it's like S or a C.
Yeah.
That's whenever they go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like in the master slave. Yeah. That's how I have it. So it's similar to their that wave setting, like the W1, I think it is. But instead of W1 in master slave, they go at the same fucking time. Like these alternate. So
depending on like the length of your tank and having two of them like spread out with that setting, I noticed like that setting is kind of a hard setting where it's on, off, off, on, off. But if you get them in sequence at the right wavelength for them to match the back and forth, it can get dangerous. Because it can create, if it's one of those wave things. If the waves are going like this and hitting, that's one thing. If they're going and they perfectly link up and things start to and the next thing you know, you've got so it's something to watch out for. But I don't think with having the on off, you would have to have a perfect distance between them for that to kind of time.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing I don't think people talk about a lot is you put a massive gyre on the side of a tank, you better have a sturdy tank, because that fucker's putting some force on the side of your tank.
Yeah, you'll start ripping seams. I've seen that in the past.
Brian's showing us his Hydros setup. Oh, for fuck's
sake. There it is. Now mine's super simple. I got a gyro on the left, gyro on the right, octo on the back. I had to figure all this out, so I couldn't get logged into my Hydros from the computer because I never use it on the computer. So
Somebody's just added some Christmas.
What's that a picture of?
It's a rocket ship. You're all you're also sexist, so I'm just gonna put some boobs in there. Oh, I was too late. I was trying to restore balance.
To the Force.
Okay. Jason, are you even still there? Do you want to talk about your flow? Or will we jump to Ryan and come back? Oh no, there he is.
Sorry.
What are you using just now, Jason? And then I'm sure you can tell us what your plans is for your new build.
Right now, I have what the hell is that thing? A JBL SLW 30.
Sorry,
and
Jason, Brian, that is a fucking awesome tank you have.
You like that? That's nice, isn't it?
You have taste. Sorry, Jason, on you go. I'm going to ignore that fucker now.
Yeah, I have an SLW 30 and then a Higer. I don't know what the hell that thing is. It's like a 2,600 gallon per hour, like just random ass power head. It's down behind the rock, kind of shooting across the back wall, low. And then the SLW is like mid wall on the other side. The J-bow is set to a random flow pattern, and then the Higer is set to just like a sine wave, just to try to keep things circulating in a circle, in essence, keep things suspended. New tank's going to get that J-bow is going to go in there, and then I have a 120 gyre for in the new tank, and we'll see how that goes. I've never had a gyre before, but everybody likes them, so I figured that was a pretty good way to go. The tank's only 36 inches long, so that should realistically do end to end. I'm figuring up high, and then I'll probably do the same deal with the SLW 30, kind of low ish, and like probably on the back. But we'll see.
I know it's a bit of a tangent, but what are you actually planning coral-wise for the new system? Are you sticking with the kind of mix you have?
Well, that's the thing. The new tank's the long-term plan is the new tank's going to be all sticks, but that's long-term because I want to break this tank down and reseal it before putting it back up as a LPS and salty tank. So at that time, things will obviously have to probably change. I'll probably need some more flow, potentially when it goes all sticks. But who knows when that's going to happen. Things may change between now and then. I don't know. Because I keep thinking that maybe instead of resealing this stupid bow front tank, maybe I'll do something different. Maybe get a cube or something that's easier to deal with as opposed to the bow front, which is oddly shaped.
Hey, it's looking clean and tidy and nice in the background there.
I mean, it's not bad. It's doing pretty good right now. It kind of
thought about macros.
I'm like right at the point where I'm like, it's almost going to be time to take this thing down, and it's like, it looks really good right now. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It has to be. So moving forward to make things happen, it has to happen. So because I don't have enough equipment to run them individually right now. And I don't like really it's in an okay spot, but like I kind of want all that stuff to get over there. I spent all that time building that stand. I want to utilize it the whole way. So And I don't want to have to do 2 water changes. I want to be able to do 1 water change, 1 system, 1 water change, because that was the downfall of my previous 2 systems. Having 2 at the same time, it was just too much. Trying to do 2 water changes is a nightmare.
So you are a self-confessed lazy reefer. So
Fucking right.
How often do you clean your flow pumps?
Usually the Higer gets cleaned when it locks up. Because usually you get one of them little shitbag ass snails in there, and it'll lock it up. So usually that's when that happens. I do actually like the controller for the Higers better than the J valves, because it actually will tell you like that it's flowing. Like you can see, like it's got a display on there that says that it's flowing. Whereas the J valve cheap ass controller doesn't. But typically, if that doesn't happen, I try to throw them in citric acid once in a while when they get pretty nasty.
You drive the car till it runs out of fucking petrol.
Well, in this situation, yes. I fucking hate cleaning pumps. That's stupid and annoying. Well, that Higer's a pain in the ass to clean. Like, it's got like a metal bracket that goes, that's like, it sits in, it's like this, and then the head sits inside of it. So you got to spread that metal open and pry that bastard out of there. It's a pain in the dick. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's like a poorly designed Toonsy Turbell almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that pump's just going to end up being probably a backup at some point in time. I mean, I've had great luck with those Higer pumps. The small one that I had just finally shit the bed a month or so ago. The thing was like 2 years old, 3 years old. I paid like $50 for it. I couldn't really bitch about it too much, So I've
just
had pretty good luck
out
with those.
there, but you could do what I've done with old pumps, and that is if you're not planning on having a refugium in your sump, is I have a small, cheap, old from previous build power head in every single section of my sump, which keeps everything fully suspended back into the tank, feeds the corals, and anyway
Right.
it goes down and gets pulled out with the fleece roller.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have at least 1 power head in the sump, because I am going to have a refugium in one section. And keep that moving. The plan, I have an old power head, like an old like AC power head. I'm figuring on throwing in there just to keep that section kind of rolling the Kato around. So we'll see. Like I said, the whole sump deal is kind of new, so we'll see what it needs.
Exciting times. Exciting times.
Do you guys remember all like freshwater days and before Ecotech and Jabo, and the power heads were like, you'd get like a high door power head that was like fucking 4 inches long and stuck off the side of your tank like fucking monster. They're still selling those things. It's amazing some of those companies are still in business selling basically the same shit they've made for 30 years.
But who buys that shit?
So
I don't know.
Like, that's the thing. Like, who is buying that shit? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like you just said, like I'm gonna put one of those old pumps in my sump. I'm thinking, God, I'd buy an SCP-10 and put it in anything for $50 rather than buy any of those old pumps now. You get fucking shocked. You'd be like, oh, what the fuck is in there? Fuck.
So Great Lakes Fish and Coral still has a shelf full of those old high rollers.
Oh, they're really good.
Tons of them. Tons of them. They
in
sell
Petoskey?
No, not that one.
No, you're all right.
The Ohio store.
Mr. Bugnick,
Probably wants $1,000 for them, but whatever.
I will edit all of that out. You are not seeing that on this. DLC only, baby.
Yeah, we're not promoting anybody but GLC. Champion can get promoted too.
I've often thought that, like, how are these companies still selling this crap? Like,
did you see the new one that just came out? Like, hey, look at our new pump, and it's like, It's a 1999 high door. Like, what do you mean? Look at the new pump.
What about that AI's new little weird return pump they took from some old company?
Do they have a new one?
It's like looks like an egg.
Oh, like Jeffrey Epstein's penis.
Yeah, that's exactly. It looks exactly like his penis. It's like round.
Is that? Are they calling it the Epstein? The Epstein
Yeah,
pump?
look it up. I think it's more for like all-in-one small tanks, like a small little return. But
maybe they bought the patent.
Yeah, something
maybe they
like
bought the patent off a Pink Light IP patent.
Came out with their copied gyres, the Orbit gyres or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't see that. It's a return pump then, huh? Like why not just use a $20 maxi jet? That's what you're gonna fucking buy.
Doesn't say AI on it.
Oh, the ZKSG. I know what you're talking about.
And how are they still selling maxi jets? Who's buying those fucking things?
I did. I got fucking 7 maxi jets for like $30.
I did too, and I've been loving them.
That's pretty good.
Jim turning his bath into a fucking jacuzzi. How often do you remove the pubes, Jim?
Fuck off, Ron. How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
You while you're in the once you put all the maxi jets in there, do you do the Billy Madison with the shampoo and the conditioner while you're in there? Like shampoo's better, no, conditioner's better. Do you do that while you're in there?
We just have a big button on our master bathroom tub that jacuzzi's the whole fucking thing. Just hit it, the whole fucking tub.
So it's just on or off?
Yeah. Big jacuzzi tub.
We don't have.
I think there's like
nice.
8 jets in it.
Must be fucking nice.
You don't even need the maxi jets.
That's MTV crib shit for Scotland, by the way. Nobody has that here. You just have to fart.
That because that tub's probably as big as your whole house, Ron.
I wouldn't have told you if you didn't start rubbing in fucking maxi jets.
If Jim takes you in his
fuck you. I
bathroom,
do have
you're
a fucking maxi jet tub.
That's as big as my whole
you.
fucking house.
I do.
What the fuck?
An outdoor one too, bitches.
You've got an outdoor one. You've got an outdoor. What do you call it? A hot tub.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And an indoor one in our fucking master bathroom.
So do you use that when it's as cold as it is right now outside?
I shut it down for winter.
It
costs too much to heat.
Ryan just made a sauna outside in his house, a steam room.
Where'd Ryan go?
Ryan fucked
fuck
off.
you, asshole.
Oh, is he gone?
It was his turn.
Really
I mentioned his
Jim
name.
doesn't get a little cold at his house. He gets mega cold.
Yeah, it's negative 17 here. It's like Zach cold.
Fuck that shit.
You
Like
guys have
ZB
all been
cold.
colder. You guys have all been colder than us.
Negative 37 Celsius.
That's ridiculous.
No.
Not the actual temperature, just the wind chill temp.
Yeah, still my penis would be like,
that.
nope.
Nope.
Get inside. And you two boys, up you come. Just nothing. Action man genitalia. So, on to flow. Russ, would you like to talk about your flow?
Sure. Wave engine, 4 Octopulse 2s.
Can you share your screen? Your wave engine screen for us so we can see how you set it up?
No, I'm all right today. Computer.
I brought crayons to draw big cocks.
That'll work great on your screen, Ron.
Yeah.
Can you get the tape measure out too?
Have 4 of them, 1 on each side, and then 1 on the back, or 2 on the back panel. 1 on each side of the overflow. Run them in a gyre pattern where they go forward and reverse. So that's kind of cool about the Octopulse, that you can spin them backwards.
So they go both ways.
Yes, they alternate.
Did you say so total of 6 pumps?
No, just 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
4 Octopulse 2s.
Okay.
I heard it the same way as you, Jim. I was like, I've watched his tour more than once, and I only counted 4. So yeah, 4 in total. So is it 1 on each side and 2 on the back? Did you say?
Correct.
Go and put the kettle on.
Hey, Russ, how big is
I'll
your
walk
tank?
all
Russ?
the way upstairs for you guys.
You're going upstairs.
Yep. We'll see if I can figure out how to put the filter on this thing on the iPad.
Yay.
Oh, wow. Edit this out.
Nope.
You take No, thank you, Turkish. I'm sweet enough.
Oh, there's Jim's tank. Your lights,
lights are off.
Yet, Jim.
No, it's fucking 10 in the morning.
What time do
Don't you need them to start fluffing up soon?
I don't need fluff time. Mine don't turn on till 11.
Oh, here's Russell.
How long do you run them, Jim?
From 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. it's just the blues.
Sorry, Russ. We were talking about lighting briefly there.
We're waiting for Russ to get upstairs.
I think he's ready.
But it's slow.
Well, now I'm cleaning the glass. It was dirty. You guys were talking.
Oh, now your shirt's going to be all wet. Just had a stupid little lantern basslet jump out on me really quick.
What?
You have
It's like
the most suicidal fish of anyone I've ever known.
It's like, oh, the lid is off quick.
They're trying to jump in your mouth. They see the hole in the beard and then just go, Right, sorry, Russ.
I love your tank, Russ.
Thanks. But yeah, just the 2 Octopults, and then 2 more of them, all connected to the wave engine back there.
So I'm interested. Like my pumps are the J-Bos are really raw. Like Zach talked a little bit about some of the slave stuff you can do, but I found when you guys use these more advanced pumps with controllers, a lot of important flow with pumps that are that close together is the flow that comes off of the 2 flow patterns, right? So how does it work when you guys are tweaking your flow patterns to create the indirect flow off of those 2 flow patterns coming together? Like, do you work on that, or is it just completely random?
So the ones on the short sides are paired up, and the ones on the back are paired up. So they kind of alternate. They're synced up where that way, I get some turbulence. I'm hoping you can see it on the top.
I can see it on the top. Yeah,
it looks good. So see, you were saying there that the Octopulse has a reverse mode.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you should be able to see that in the flow. See how it slowed down?
Right. Yeah. So back to flow. So the Octopulses, when you said they go in reverse, is that reverse the same as what a gyre does in reverse, which is doesn't really do a lot? So how does it work with an Octopulse then? Does reverse mean it's
one way they blow and one way they suck?
Yeah. So are you telling me the water gets pulled in that front section and comes out the sides?
Correct.
Okay. And
can you see the little bit of detritus
Yeah, I can see it moving. But so what's the purpose of that then?
Just to mix up the flow.
Yeah, I don't think the flow coming out the ends is what is important. It's the sucking the water. Actually, sucking the water is a flow.
Just moving it.
And kick up stuff underneath it to reduce dead spot. So, the propeller shooting it forward, nice flow that way. And then when it sucks it in the front and shoots it out kind of like a fan pattern, it kicks up stuff underneath it.
Is that unique to octopulses?
The 4K gyres, you can do that too. I don't use it.
No, I don't
You
use.
can't do that with your.
The gyres.
You can't use that with your MP40s.
No.
Those expensive ass. No, never mind. What the fuck?
One of the things I have to say that I love about the Vortex is the fact that I have 4 Vortex in this tank and I have 8 wet sides. And I just take the dirty wet sides, throw the citric acid, throw the clean ones on, boom, job done, walk away.
So as soon as somebody knocks those fuckers off and I can buy them for a reasonable price, I will. I'm buying some of those. But I refuse to spend Vortex money. They can fuck right off.
I totally agree with you. I would never pay that money retail at all. Not at all.
If I was going to pay retail of that kind of money, it wouldn't be those, because fuck them.
No, I agree. Retail, it's especially the lights. But we're not talking about lights, we're talking about flow.
Sorry.
I can't even fathom buying those used.
Rant over.
You buy one of those pumps used, it's still $200.
That's because people are fucking assholes.
Like, fuck that. I'll buy 2 Jabos.
I've got
brand new
MP10 that I really like. I just pulled it off the shelf yesterday. It's been sitting there in the back.
Look at that.
Put it on the Rubbermaid.
The lack of wires in the tank is fucking dope, though. Don't get me wrong. That shit's awesome.
It's so cool.
But
it's cool and it's also a little bit safer and
even the octopus, the 2s are, man, they're small. That wire is not even intrusive at all. I don't know if you can see it up there. Where's it at? Yeah, it's so right there. You don't even see it. That's the one I just put in last night just to see what it would do.
I have to be honest, Brian, I literally can't see it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't see
I mean,
it.
it's right in the middle of the screen right now. So hold on.
I can't see it.
See if I can do it this way.
The stupid Higer, the small Higer that I had in this tank before it took a shit, when it actually did take a shit and I was trying to figure it out, I think the damn urchin chewed on the wire while trying to get the core line off of the wire. I think that was contributing factor to why it failed. So that's fucking stupid.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that.
The urchin,
you can really see
on the fucking
flow in Tater's tank with that torch. Like such nice kind of indirect back and forth, all direction movement.
And I think that kind of illustrates the reverse mode too. I think it's pretty obvious in the shot when it's going forward and when it's reversing.
Yeah, and
what size tank is that, Russ?
It slows down.
It's a Frag 1054 water box. I think it's a 4 feet wide, 2 feet front to back, and then 16 tall.
Okay.
Is that all those tiles that you've been lasering?
Yeah, no, none of those have goofy stuff lasered on them, but yeah, that's the same ones. Yeah, you can see Jim's frag back there, and then the groob.
The frag since you're all doing well.
Yeah. There's one, another. That Monty is going to be a problem because it's growing so fast. This one's pretty nicely encrusted. That one back there is doing real well. There's more at the gym zone.
Don't worry, Russ. You can draw all that stuff out, and then I'll need some stuff so you can offload some.
Come and get pumped up at the gym zone.
Yeah, these are the two that kissed and now fused together.
Awesome.
In our corpora.
So how often do you clean your octopulses, Russ, and how do you do it?
When they get fuzzy, I stick a brush in front of them and let them self-clean. And I don't think they've ever been out of the tank.
That's baller.
What do you mean?
Couple of years.
What do you mean you stick a brush in front of it and let them self? What does that mean?
As they're spinning, right?
You toilet bowl brush them?
So the
I mean, it's for the tank. It hasn't been in the shitter.
Okay. That's not a portalet. That's not a portalet brush.
And give them an old scrub, let them kind of power through it, and then they're less fuzzy.
That's probably one of my favorite comments ever.
We're calling this the tater method from now on.
Turns out corals love sweet corn. Who knew?
That's the tater method. Love it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
just to clarify, you stuck
there's some algae on the cords, but whatever. The snails are working on it. They're doing their best. They've had a rough year.
Oh. They did the best they could with what they had at the time.
Oh
no.
Oh shit!
Tank is looking.
I went over my head.
So, what's your return pump?
You have to unmute it.
Can I hear him? I can't hear him. Can you guys hear him?
I can't hear him now.
Nope.
No, just that DCP 3500 turned way down.
Who's that made by? Sorry.
Yeah.
To Jabo?
Exactly.
So you guys are like, everybody's got experience or has used Jabos. Like everybody.
Black boxes and Jabos, buddy. Black boxes and Jabos.
Yeah, it's just not. Jabo is just not that big a deal here, and I don't know why. We've got Corallias and Tunzator Bells and things like that, but not so much.
So how expensive is your return pump?
Whose?
Yours.
Which one?
Fucking high.
So what the return pump you use on your display?
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
It's a core 20.
And what does that cost retail?
I don't know retail.
Well, I think they're $400,
$500.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
Jabo DCP 1000 or whatever is $120.
I think I paid
fucking things like a rock.
180.
I wish.
I got a DCW 6000 for like $80.
Yeah.
That's what's going on the new tank.
I wish Hydros could integrate to the Jabo stuff. That would be.
I mean, you saw that Reef
They would make
Factory.
a fortune.
Reef
An
Factory.
absolute fortune.
They took the Jabo pumps and just put their software into them. I mean, same pump.
Yep.
Jabo makes a solid return pump.
Hey, but don't say that because people get pissed off about it.
Hey, you can fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at this fucking thing.
Their return pump bodies are used by so many different companies. Like Deltec uses
J-Bow and their skimmer pumps. Like you said, all the Reef Factory is rebranded.
What is that, Zach?
I was gonna run my store off of it. Giant fucking pump.
What the fuck is that for?
We use one of them for our outdoor pond system.
Yeah, that's a big ass return pump there. Like a big external pump.
Yeah, ours is maybe even 6 inches longer than that for the pond system. But we're running really, really thick pipes.
8,500 gallons per hour and 55-foot max head.
And what kind of pump is it?
That is
Hammerhead, reflow.
Tiger Shark, yeah, reflow.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a big pump.
Yeah, it's a
big mistake.
And they're still cheaper than the Vectras or the Core 20s.
Yeah,
and they work.
I think my private price for like $560.
Yeah.
Same price
for what you're getting is that's not bad for what you're getting out of that. I mean, that head rating and gallon per hour on that is probably actually real. I don't believe for a second that some of the numbers that they put on some of these like standard return pumps is even close to what those things actually flow. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, I know my J-Bow return pumps. I don't. So I thought when I had the burning smell, I pulled out my 1200 and my spare was a 10,000, and I put the 10,000 in, and still I'm only running the 10,000 at 35%.
Yeah. Oh, they move some water, no doubt about that. I just the actual like rating on them, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just find it hard to believe that some of these pumps are pushing the amount of water. The same way with power heads. I find it hard to believe that they're pushing the amount of water that they say that they're moving.
Yeah.
And as long as they work, who gives a shit? It doesn't really matter. But when you're comparing them,
I don't know. I almost believe J-Bow is pushing the amount they're saying. Like Z-Dubs, you put that 120 on your tank and we're like, fuck. You know, like
I've been tempted to test to see if the return actually meets what the return says.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to do. You just have to.
So,
go ahead.
No, I'm ADDing. That reflow pump that Zach Budnick just shared. So one of my first 90 gallon I had, oh God, this was 20 years ago. I was running a reflow and that was it for the return pump, but I did a closed loop on it and I had to cut the power down in half. I used a gate valve. That tank, I'll share a screen on that one because that one was pretty impressive before it completely crashed out on me. And I think this is the only picture I have of that tank. I wish I had more. You guys see it?
Yeah.
So that the greens, oh man, that was back when you just threw live rock in piles and then stuck stuff to it.
That's cool.
The green Sinulara on the left hand side was like, so before that actually like went big everywhere and everybody had that. That came from the Cleveland Zoo, the main aquarium at the Cleveland Zoo, like one of the reef clubs I was part of back then. We got to go in the back and like see everything for a Christmas party, and they cut frags off of it. And they were just going to throw it in the trash, so everybody started snatching them up. So I don't know if that's something where it kind of like blew up from there and went all over the country, but that green Sinulara was like that Cleveland Zoo was the only place I had ever seen the green Sinulara. But those reflow pumps, man, that thing was a tank. It just never stopped. It didn't matter what you did. They just never stopped back then. But I mean, I don't know what they're made like now. So tangent over.
I don't know what I would ever use it for. I think I'm just desperate to try to sell it back somehow at this point. I don't think I'll go that big.
Yeah, I think you'd need to do a closed loop on an 800-gallon tank or something.
Yeah.
What about like your invert setup? Could you run it off through that?
Well, I keep everything pretty separate, just in case. Every little tiny, my inverts are just this one system and then this other one system.
Gotcha.
And they're just by themselves. It is an idea. But originally, the whole store was just going to be connected to one giant sump. But then I got scared if I had an accident, then everything would be an accident.
Maybe Beth will upgrade.
Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to get Ryan to buy it. He's got a huge return pump in his basement when you see his tour next the 3rd.
Oh yeah, that's booked in. They're still got another.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. His pictures of his tank look really cool.
Need to try and get our new European member to do a tank tour. Although it sounds like he's got some drama going on.
Ooh, that makes it better, right? Or is it tank drama?
Yeah, white spot, I think. Only on one tank. Only on one tank.
Frustrating. Someone came in yesterday with I think they got marine velvet or ick. And maybe they got it from us, but I hope not.
Velvet is no fucking joke. That was the lowest point for me I've ever had in this hobby, and that even trumps the tank getting boiled that time. Velvet was horrific.
Yeah, it's not fun. Sick fish are not fun. Kind of ruins the whole thing for you.
It's just how quick and aggressive it was, though. I mean, every hour that went by, the fish just started to disappear behind this wall of white mist. It was.
We're being pretty proactive.
Well, you got to watch out for the mist.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Loser.
So, loser.
Well, I mean,
do you guys have any?
Ron. You knew it was coming.
Any pointers, tricks to the trade on setting up your flow? Like any indicators that maybe something's off, or you should adjust something, or tricks to tweak flow to get what you're really looking for, or just throw the pumps in and go. I think we're at a level where we overlook the placement of our pumps, and we can kind of look at it and assess the situation, be like, yeah, that would be a bad spot or that would be a good spot, but maybe what is that?
I'd start low, watch the fish, make sure they're all getting a chance to relax somewhere if they want to. Coral growth, that's about it, really. I don't think there's an answer to that question, to be totally honest.
There's nothing that you guys see,
yeah. In my LPS tubs, I have to be pretty strict with how the polyps are moving. They can't be in one direction all day long. They have to go back and forth. They have to bounce as well. So I have to try to get them to move all left for a while, then right. But in between that, they have to that wave action. They have to bounce so food doesn't it gets off of them, but it also falls into them. They don't. My aqua tanks though, the SPS, I can just blast. I can just throw everything in, and then I just keep gauging it by where the detritus ends up being. And I don't think I could ever get the detritus to go up and over where I want it. So I just kind of focus on pushing it to the easiest spot that I could get to it, and without hurting the corals at the same time. I think, especially the LPS and the low flow tanks, the detritus gets up pretty thick. That stuff would never make it over. But you can't do it too hard or you'll rip flesh everywhere.
Well, and then the guys that those of us that have sand, guys that don't run sand, that changes everything too, because you got to be careful about what you know. I've got a big bare spot in the back of my tank right now because I switched to that bigger power head, the bigger Higer in the back, so it blows up like a hole in the sand. I got to be, you got to be careful with that.
We as a hobby use probably way too fine
small
sand.
As shit, so the small tank I think creates a different set of problems than like Jim's tank with it being really long.
I agree with you, Zach. I think that the hobby in general uses too fine a sand. I think there's this picture perfect of how sand looks in a coral reef, but if you actually go there and have a look, it's absolutely nothing like that. But
Ocean's a dirty place, dirty looking.
Well, there's a lot of broken up stuff.
Yeah,
33 million turds as well. Don't forget that.
Yeah,
that's just in one area.
Silty turds.
I've actually been considering this new tank. I bought sand for it, and I think I may end up buying some more sand because I don't think that I want to use as fine a sand as I'm using currently.
I thought you bought the Argonite.
This is Fiji pink, I think.
Oh yeah, that is a little finer.
That's fine.
I like the Argonite.
It's not bad, but I can't keep it as clean as yours, Jim. I don't know what fucking black magic you do to keep your fucking sand pristine and beautiful all the time. That shit, you're a master. I don't fucking know because I can't do that. Either I'm too lazy, or
every Friday takes all the sand out.
See, that's the other thing. When you have a small tank like me,
I don't do fucking shit to my sand. I don't do fucking shit.
You're a liar.
But you have a big ass tank that you can put basically any fish you want in it, and that's the difference.
That's a good point.
Right. When you have a small tank, it's a whole different ball game.
I don't even have any sand sifters.
You take the sand out, wash it in the bathtub, tap water, and then put it back in every week.
He puts it in the jacuzzi tub. Turns the jacuzzi on.
The Maxi Jet tub. The Maxi
Jet tub.
Evan, turn to Max. Clean that sand. Yeah, Jim, so on a serious note, I know you say you don't do fucking shit. So have you got your flow, going back to the subject now, turning your sand over slightly so it never gets dirty? Because it just always looks super clean.
I don't think you can have flow that turns your sand over without creating a dead spot, because that will just continue turning it over. I don't think flow is your answer to keeping your sand clean. It helps if you have really light flow, but your sand needs to be cleaned by what you have in your tank. If you want flow to keep your sand clean, don't put sand in there. You either have to do it yourself, or you have to have fish and critters that turn it over.
Okay,
you're
so
going to have a storm
what is
all the
cleaning
time.
your sand?
So on the right side of my tank, I have an anemone with a clownfish, tomato clown, that cannot stand any sand by it. So it pushes the sand around in the corner nonstop. And when I get tired of it, so I do something. When I go to clean my glass, I just push the sand back. And it takes me like a second while I'm cleaning the glass. And then over the next 2 weeks, the fish pushes all the sand back. So that corner is taken care of by one fish. The back of the tank, you can't see it anymore because the corals have gotten so big. The giant wrasse has pushed all the sand to the front of the tank. So it is a bare bottom in the back, but you can't see it.
Right.
And then the front of the tank, just anywhere the giant wrasse decides to sleep at night, it stirs up the sand bed. And it just sleeps in enough different spots that the sand gets turned over. I mean, it's an 8-inch wrasse now, or 7-inch wrasse, so I mean, it needs a pretty big bed to sleep in. That's all I do.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
I don't have any cucumbers. I don't have any, snails. What are the snails? The Nezarelli or whatever they are. Nesarias. I don't have any of those. No shrimp. Just no crabs. No hermits. Fuck hermits.
Do you want that stuff? Do you like that stuff? Not hermits, obviously, but
I like shrimp.
Nesarias are fucking awesome.
They're sweet.
I like shrimp, and the Sarias are cool. I used to have some, but they're hard to find around me, and I don't like to order those.
What they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were, along with sand sifting gobies, they were the reason why I got into this hobby, because in the LFS they put food in the tank and they fucking appeared like zombies, writhing around, all coming out of the sand.
Fucking snorkel comes out, and all of a sudden
it was amazing.
Yeah,
that's what people come in asking for. Zombie snails.
Yeah, they're cool. I had a bunch of those in my last tank, but I don't have any in this tank. I keep an eye out for them, but I haven't really found them. I don't go to the store and buy shit very much anymore. Walk in, grab a fucking couple things of food, and walk out.
They're really good workhorses, and in my experience, don't cause any trouble.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't even like to really climb up the glass. I mean, they don't like to. They stay in the sand.
Yeah, they're a win-win.
They just fucking sift around in the sand. Yeah, I like those.
I've got the Sarias in mine and a conch. And I mean, they do okay, but I definitely can't keep it as like yours. Definitely, it just doesn't work out.
I think I have a lot of pods, amphipods and copepods too. I think they do a job of keeping my sand clean.
Probably.
Like if I turn the lights at night, if I come down and look, and the fucking sand looks like it's moving. Because there's just fucking no bristleworms in my display, but in my I barely do fucking shit tank. I have bristleworms.
How do you get away with that?
I don't have any bristles in this tank. I don't have any bristles in this tank, but I did never in the in my previous tank.
Yeah, I don't know how I got that. I don't know. I started dry. I had one small piece of rock, and I didn't move anything other than frags into little tiny frags into my tank. So, and I dipped them all with bear. So I never got bristleworms.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any bristles.
Yeah, I had some big bristleworms in the 46 gallon. I actually was pulling out some rock like that's dry now that I'm going to put in the new tank. I was pulling out pieces the other day to see what I had, and there was a dried up bristleworm on the bottom of one of the rocks. Poor bastard.
What kind of wrasse you got in your tank, John?
I killed a pop up of bristleworms yesterday.
It's a halicorus. It's a marble wrasse. It's like a checker. It's also called a checkerboard wrasse.
It's a beast.
Yeah. I know the arse is massive too.
So it's cool because it's unfortunately it's the only wrasse I can have now because it will chase any wrasse I put in the tank because it's so big. It doesn't like anything similar in body shape or that consumes it the same food it consumes. So it even kind of scares my long-nosed hawkfish away. But the tank is big enough that the longnose and I have enough monster corals that the longnose has plenty of branching corals to get into and hide. So
wrasses always seem to be dicks anyway. At least all the ones I've had have been,
All my fish are dicks.
I don't think my fish aren't dicks. I mean, they
fuck my fish.
The only one I have that sucks that I should have never put back in this tank was that chromas. I've got one chromas in here, but I pulled him out and threw
like
him
a blue green, just like a blue green.
Oh
chromas.
yeah. Oh, he's a fucking asshole, man.
Mine I had crazy.
That's because you don't.
Dude, I took him out.
They're not fucking.
Oh yeah, there were four of them. There were four in there, and he ate all of them. Like he killed all of them. And then I took him out and threw him in the frag system. And when I shut the frag system down, I threw him back in the main. I should have just gave him the meat cleaver treatment.
I'm lucky where I've got seven chromis in my tank. And so the one male is all the way on the one side, and this is his little territory, and that's where he brings the females to lay eggs. And then there's another male that kind of lives in this section, and then all the other females live over here. And when the males want to get busy, the females come over and
fucking
another female. So they don't bother any other fish.
I can't believe I've never been able to keep any more than one chromis. You start with 5 and end up with 1.
Yeah.
But your tank's also really long.
This one,
one dude bought like 100 of them.
When I set this tank up, I bought 5 chromas to cycle, and he's the only one left, and he killed everything. So
is he a monster, Brian? Is he big?
He's probably 3 inches. If I could get him to come close, I mean,
pretty big for.
He's not huge. He's just a brick.
You think you'll put him in a jar?
Ron considers that
in a jar. See if I can get him to come up.
Whoa! Stop! What was that, Russ?
I saw your eyes light up at 3 inches.
There he is.
A little look of hope, a little wishful look.
He popped up. That was it.
They're all asleep now.
Are you guys gonna
why the
change
fuck are
your
you looking
flow?
at us?
You got to add more flow or do anything with your flow? Or are you satisfied right now?
Good question. Who is going to change their flow?
I'm not changing shit because what you guys say. Bunch of idiots.
Well, I've got the excess or the gyres in here. I'm thinking about swapping those out. That's why I grabbed the Octo 2s. Because I don't know, man. The gyres push, but they don't. It just seems like everything's kind of stagnant. There's flow in there.
I've seen a video where a guy plumbed a closed loop into his aquascape, and he had just a ton of different little jets of water that came out of his scape and just formed all of his rock around it.
I think a long peninsula, that would be like if you did a long, big peninsula, that would be the thing to do. It'd be aquascape around closed loop.
Hide it.
And hide it, yeah.
Because peninsulas are a pain in the ass anyway, with, where you put pumps and all that, because you can see from everywhere.
Have you ever seen the guys? Have you guys ever seen the guy's tank? That old dude I think he's in England, Ron. I think he's in England. Is it? He's got that crazy. He's got a tank. It's a crazy closed loop with like
David
30
Saxby.
fucking. What's that?
David Saxby.
Yeah, David Saxby.
Yeah. Okay.
The plumbing for his closed loop is fucking bonkers. He's got pipes everywhere. Is he a nice guy? Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, I met him at the Aqua Show in 2017.
Open to talk to regulars?
17. Yeah, he chatted away. I said hello. Yeah, seems like a nice enough guy. He had a absolutely stunning Porsche Panamera with neon green brake calipers.
Really?
Panamera, fucking bastard.
It was
that's the dream, buddy. That's the dream right there.
But no, he seemed like a genuinely nice guy, and he talked to everybody. He gave everybody time. Thank you, everyone, for joining on episode 3 of Talking Bollocks on Flow. This was excellent, and we'll see you in the next one.